Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? I'm heading down to Zenkaicon. I actually already set up yesterday. We actually wound up where we went down there with my guy and we did the unload and setup. I've never did the con, but it was a very easy unload and what. The good news about that show is, like I said, it's relatively close to Jersey. I mean, about 2.5 hours from where I am. So decided to do that, come back, and then get a sleep here, and then go back this morning. We definitely want to promote the Anime NJ and do some sales. Hey, you know, that show actually is in a strange spot in that Philly never really has its own show in the actual city. So it's kind of interesting. So that show kind of services Philadelphia area in a way, as opposed to Teco, who, you know, it winds up where it services the Pittsburgh area and mostly Western PA. So this one pretty much is in Eastern PA, and for North Jersey, it's a good show to be. It's kind of funny about Teco. Funny story is that I did Teco once or twice. It actually is a pretty big show. Nice people there and what. But one of my guys did it by himself once, and unfortunately, he got in big trouble. He wound up where he's kind of he's not an anti-vaxxer, but he has problems with masks and he doesn't like it. And then the other thing too, he has a breathing issue, and yeah, they pretty much threw him out. He did not want to. He couldn't change his mask or whatever. He said he was having trouble breathing, so he left Saturday. So it's one of the stories of the day. I probably will never be able to go back to Teco, but it's a bit far, and honestly, the show is okay. It's not really was one of our big ones or anything like that. I just like to always go to areas that we don't usually service, and Pittsburgh's a good one. The good news in Pittsburgh, Dave's there. He does Teco, and Dave of Otaku Market, and he, you know, has this little hentai room in his booth. So whenever you see him, he has all our stuff. He carries it, so it's not a problem. All right, I'll keep reporting as I get closer, and take care for now. Yep, the show is about to start. We're here at Zenkaicon. John Patterson, who is working with me and is going to be doing the exhibitor room at Anime NJ, is setting up his booth, but it's about to start. This show is out here in Lancaster. Pretty much the show, like I said, that handles the Philadelphia area. The dealer room is not huge, but it's still pretty nice size. There's all your pretty much guys that you know from other shows if you've done it. It's a nice size show. I mean, in some ways when the shows are a bit smaller, it makes them a bit better, because everyone kind of just, there's more for everybody, meaning the dealers, they make more sales. But, you know, it's nice. Has a lot of things. You have Benny here trying to sell stuff. There you go, getting ready. The show is going to start in a little while, probably like an hour or so. But we're trying to promote the Anime NJ, trying to make a few sales here, see how it goes. If you're in the area of Lancaster or Philly and you want to have some fun, come to a show, definitely check this one out. I think it has a lot to offer for everyone. Some good stuff. Definitely bigger than some of the shows I see, as far as the really small ones. So, like I said, if you guys happen to be in the area, happen to be around, definitely come to say hi, come to do some purchasing, support your local vendors, support your local shows, and otherwise though, stay active, stay healthy, enjoy the long weekend, and I hope to see you all. Take care. All right, everybody, last day here at Lancaster and Zenkaicon. Great little show, actually. Really enjoyed it. Outside here, just looking around, doing things. It's right in the middle of the center of the town. Great place. Nice size show. It's actually the perfect size show, if you ask me. Not too huge, not too small. Hoping Anime NJ gets there, but final day, a lot got done, a lot of promotion. Just having a sip of coffee and getting ready for the final loadout and stuff. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Yes, it's the morning after. Wound up, got out of the show. Pretty easy loadout. It's one of the easiest load-ins and loads out as far as shows go for Zenkaicon. It's about a 3-hour drive out back to Jersey where we are. Not a problem at all. Everything went pretty smooth, pretty easy. In fact, it was one of the busiest Sundays I've seen at a show in a long time. Usually Sunday goes pretty dead pretty quick. But not that show. That show definitely had some more gas left in the tank. So that was good. And yeah, the show far exceeded my expectations. And Lancaster, like I said, nice area, nice town. The surrounding area is really nice, so that was good. Outside the gym now, gonna do a little bit of stretching, walking, a little bit of bands, just try to keep the body moving. So this was one of the first cons I did by myself, so that was a good feeling to try and get that done and see how the body reacts to it, and seemed to react pretty well overall. Other than that, we're gonna start to get into the craziness coming up. We got, yes, Boston in 2 weeks, so pretty much I got these next. I got this week is pretty much dead and free. Got to catch up with things. Next week, we're going to have Boston. So I'll give you guys a production update and all those kind of things after we have our Monday morning meetings. We always have Monday morning meetings during that time. And, you know, I did post something about Software Sculptors, the early days and all that. It was kind of brought back some memories. Some guy came by our booth and he had that Animerica issue, and I kind of remembered Animerica, and I remember we used to do a full page ad. Believe it or not, the covers were always taken. You used to have the back cover and whatever. It would cost so much money to run in the magazine. It was before all the social media stuff, all that kind of thing. But yeah, seeing that gave me memories as far as the CD-ROMs, the screensavers. I mean, I did go a little bit of history before, but yeah, Software Sculptors was the first company I started really. And that company, you know, I wanted to do games, so I was learning a lot of programming. I did a lot of stuff with C, a lot of stuff with, Think C on the Mac. And on Windows, it was Microsoft, C++. So it was kind of, in fact, that's where the ++ comes from for the Anime because we're going to have, you know, I'm trying to feature all kinds of things like the Kaiju, the Tokusatsu, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, back then, we were just a few guys. It was me, Henry, Henry and Sam, and yeah, that's how we kind of started. But it was mostly me and Henry in the beginning, I think, or me. But I did a lot of computer consulting back then. I did a lot of database stuff, but it was so boring. I worked a little bit on Wall Street in a place called Fitch Investments, I think it was. But it was okay. It was just, you know, a job, and you did make some money, so can't complain about that. But yeah, and I took the leap and bound, and that's when I decided to do it. I found the anime was at a Creation Con. I've met Bruno. If you've done conventions, you know Bruno. I did pick up the Ranma, the Bubblegum Crisis, the Tenchi. It was Bubblegum Crisis and Ranma and Project Eiko. I picked up those videos from him, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to kind of. I saw those and I saw, wow, they really have a game feel to them, and that's when. But I did not, you know, once I got into it, doing games back then seemed so, wow, it was going to be a lot of work. So if you remember the After Dark screensaver, I was kind of like, I thought that would be a cool thing to do. But when I tried to do it, you needed the animation, you needed the sprites, and trying to do everything with make it all work. And I kind of learned, I don't know what, I wonder whatever happened to After Dark and those screensavers. And they seem to go out of business pretty quick once, you know, Microsoft had their own built-in one. And that's what I found out. When Windows had its own built-in one, I kind of said, let me just use their built-in one, and you build a module. And the other thing too is people just wanted to have the clips. So what I did was I put the module into the Windows one, and I built a complete screen, because the Mac didn't have a screensaver back then. I built a complete screensaver that had all the features, you know. and it worked out pretty well. I was really happy with it, but the only thing was that I found out later on more people were buying those CD-ROMs, my screensaver and what, not so much for the screensaver. They were buying it just to, you know, get the QuickTime clips. Back then you had to buy like a special card and everything. We had to buy for the Mac, and I remember I was programming on a 2SI, and you had to like put a special card. We had a more powerful, I forgot which one it was, more powerful with the special card, hook it up to, you know, I think we had Laserdisc, probably was a Laserdisc, and you would capture it and do it that way, and then we would convert it down to QuickTime. And, you know, they were like a 180 or 80 by 60 or whatever the heck the dimensions were. They were really small, and, you know, it was interesting. People really seemed to want those clips because you couldn't do it, so they had them for themselves. And the screensaver itself did work. I mean, people used it, I guess, sometimes for that. And yeah, we made a lot of them, and that's when we really didn't have much money, so we were trying to do the replication, we were trying to do all that stuff. And what happened was, that's when I hooked up with, because I went to each company. I went to CPM for ACO, I went to Animerica for you know, Bubblegum Crisis, and yeah, I met Rob Woodhead, which was kind of a little bit of a big deal for me because I did love Wizardry back then, being a gaming guy. I thought it was an amazing game. And then I wound up, that much later, I wound up meeting Viz and Ron the One Half, and I did wind up eventually with Pioneer, but they wanted me, everybody wanted to be, didn't want to be the test guinea pig, so it wound up that, what's his name? I think it was actually, yeah, CPM and Project ACOs were the first one. That later, we wound up, yeah, that CPM purchased Software Sculptors, and then I started to try to do other stuff with projects. One or two, most of them didn't happen, but I did wind up licensing Hercules and Xena, and we did a similar thing for Hercules and Xena, and we did also a similar thing for, what's its name? We never wound up, we did have the license, and we started to do stuff for the DC Comics stuff, but we never wound up completing that. That project was just too expensive, and it just didn't work out. So that was the thing. Back then, we had those linear CDs too, if you see in the ad, like Record of Lotus War and all that. And, you know, O'Donnell wanted that, and whatever was with CPM. And we wound up where we did the linear CDs, and it was basically all done in, if you remember back then, Macromedia. I remember Henry would do them in Macromedia, and it was such a simple, again, I don't think anyone used our player or anything like that. I think they just, again, wanted to just be able to have it on there. So it was pretty much, they were buying that, the card and the capturing and all that kind of stuff for us to do that. So that's what happened with Software Sculptors. It never wound up being what I really wanted it to be, which was a game company, but it did do a lot of other things. And, you know, what happened was, we, you know, I think the big thing that catapulted us, the games were good, solid. CPM, though, didn't have much distribution on that stuff. We were doing it mostly local and cons and what. And there was that one Tiger software catalog. I don't know if anybody remembers those Tiger catalogs. And people would buy them in there. And we did sell a few thousand or something like that. Some nice number like that. But then, yeah, it just never really but the big thing for us was that we licensed, yes, Slayers. So when CPM acquired Software Sculptors, they got Slayers in the deal. We also had Miku and Zenki. Those were doing okay, but the one that really everyone wanted to see was Slayers. It was a really popular anime, and we dubbed it and did those kind of things. So that kind of gave Software Sculptors a little bit of cachet and was really making it a pretty good company. Other than that, there's a lot more history as far as Software Sculptors and stuff like that goes, but once the games didn't come to be, and I wanted to do other stuff like live action. I wanted to make the company a little bit different. So, and the CPM just wanted really the same thing over and over again, just release more anime, get us more anime titles. They wanted us to be what they called the boutique label. Like, kind of like, we would do we didn't release a lot of stuff, but stuff they really thought was pretty good, and and that would be it. But we kind of, didn't wind up coming the way I wanted it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. I was making good money there, really good money, because that was part of the deal, but I just said, nah, I passed on it. And, just kind of went and started Media Blasters. So, all right, I'm going to head to the gym now. That's a little story there. But like I said, tomorrow I'll get you guys more into, where production is and what we're doing, because I got to have my Monday morning meeting. That's another holdover from CPM, the Monday morning meetings. All right, you guys have a great day. Be active, be healthy, be safe. Take care.